All right, so I do have a question for you guys, and I apologize. I know I have a cold. It just kind of came out of nowhere while I was streaming yesterday, and now here it is. It's hit. Anytime kids go back to school, eventually, if you're a parent or even if you're a brother or sister, it doesn't matter. You're gonna get hit. It's going to happen. So I sound like absolute trubbish right now. It's not good. But I do have a question. Sometimes I like to start out with questions, but I just want to know if you could just comment down below how long you've been involved in the Pokemon card hobby. So I started in my Pokemon card venture, my journey, back in like Team Rocket. Team Rocket is when I first started, and I was very involved in Pokemon at the time. I liked to play competitively back then, but I also like to collect, and I did that pretty much for all the way up until like the EX era. I made it through a lot longer than a lot of my friends did, and then once the EX era kind of started, I started kind of drifting away a little bit, and then I lost sight of things pretty much completely throughout Diamond and Pearl, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and then came back like midway through later end of Black and White. So I pretty much missed quite a big chunk of years, and then back end of Black and White, beginning of XY, I really started coming back in it. But I'm just curious how long you have been in it, because as we look at things, there's a lot of people, and this is something that I've learned a lot while creating content, reading your comments, and like getting to know you guys, is there's people from everywhere. And I think that's something that a lot of people who create content, a lot of people in this space don't necessarily understand, is that there are so many different personalities, so many different people who are involved in the Pokemon TCG, who are in the Pokemon card space, from all different areas of time. People who have been involved in the hobby pretty much since release, people who have come and gone all over the place, and people who have literally just gotten back into the hobby within the past year. There's a lot of people who got back into the hobby or into the hobby for the first time with the release of Scarlet and Violet 151, or even later than that with the release of Paldean Fates. There's a lot of people who just come later, and because of that, they don't necessarily know everything. Maybe they're just starting on their collecting journey. Maybe they're trying to research some things so that they can make the best decisions when it comes to spending what they're spending, their spending power, and making sure that they make the right decisions. And that's something that we all need to understand, regardless of how long you have been involved in the hobby. There's a lot of people who haven't been involved as long as you. A lot of people who are really trying to make this work and really trying to enjoy this, and it's amazing. Like, it's wonderful. Like, it's so great. All the new people who continuously come in to the hobby, and there's a lot that's happened. You missed a lot of good times, but you also missed a lot of bad times. So we're gonna rewind time 2 years ago. 2 years ago, if you were around in the hobby at that time, there was a little product called the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. I know, shocking, right? Another Charizard product, another Ultra Premium Collection. We just talked about the Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection a couple days ago. We actually have not had a set that has featured a Charizard card for like 5 sets now. It's been crazy. Like, it's been like 7 months since the release of Paldean Fates, and that was the last set that we had a Charizard. So it's been like Temporal Forces, Twilight Masquerade, we just had Stellar Crown, we had Shrouded Fable, no Charizard. It's a miracle, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Charizard isn't going to come in the near future, but it's been a little bit of a break, not long enough. We need more time without the big fire-breathing dragon. But Charizard has always been a fan favorite. It's always been a very big deal. So when they released and announced the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection, naturally, the community went nuts. People were losing their minds because they remembered what happened with the Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection. The Celebrations UPC was super hard to get a hold of. It was bought out, it was scalped, and all of a sudden, there was a lot of content, a lot of store owners who were putting out false information, misinformation all over the place about the amount of allocation that was involved for Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. People were putting up this product. This product didn't release until the end of October, but as soon as it got announced at the beginning of like August of 2022, there was already storefronts all over the place taking pre-orders, $200, $300 pre-orders where it was selling. I mean, this is a $120 product, mind you. MSRP $119.99, and people were buying pre-orders for $200 to $300 because they thought, well, this is gonna be Celebrations all over again, 2.0. It's gonna be the exact same thing. And a lot of card stores were driving this misinformation also, unfortunately, and it just wasn't a good time because it reminded us of a lot of negativity that happened during the pandemic, where a lot of people were very frustrated with being able to find product, and it finally seemed like we were heading out of that. And then all of a sudden, it was like roped you back in. But the Charizard UPC was different. It was different big time because this came around a time where Pokemon was really starting to diversify how they were allocating their products. So it wasn't just, hey, we're going to allocate a bunch of product to distribution who can then funnel it down to brick and mortar stores and online LGSs and places like that. They basically said, nope, we're going to sell most of this stuff. Most of the stock is going to go to big box retail. We're going to send them to distribution companies that stock Best Buy, that stock Walmart, that stock Target, Amazon. We're going to send it all over there, and we're still going to give some to distribution that stocks these brick and mortar stores, but nowhere near what we're going to give to these big box retailers. And because of that, as the market price started to settle a little bit above $200, so almost double MSRP, then pre-orders started going up on these big box retailers. And I remember streaming one day on a Wednesday afternoon, and Walmart had released the pre-order for the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection at $120, like right at the beginning of the stream. And still, at the end of the stream, it was still available. And then it was still available for like a week later. And there were all these people talking about how they bought 4, how they bought 12, how they went in and bought multiples of the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection from Walmart. And a lot of people were like, this is going to get canceled. There's no way this doesn't get canceled. But it didn't. It didn't, because they mass produced the heck out of the Charizard UPC, so much so that people started knocking it. And they were like, nobody's going to want this. It's not going to do well. It's going to do terrible because it's overproduced. Now, it took a while, but things are nuts right now. And it's because of the contents. There's actually 2 driving factors that I'll talk about in the video about what I think is really going to continue to drive the Charizard UPC, because the contents are really what sells this extremely well. But as soon as the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection came out, it was on shelves at Target. They had discounted it pretty much immediately down to like $90, $100 on Amazon. There was a lot of big box retailers and LGSs and other places selling these by the case at discounted prices because they just couldn't move them fast enough. There was too many of them out on the market. Supply did not meet demand because there was just too many, and because of that, the price dropped a lot, and to the point where you could find these by the case for basically $80 per box. It was absolutely crazy. Even the wholesale was like 75, 76. I forget exactly what wholesale was, but it was absolutely crazy. So that sets the stage for the video. But I hope you enjoy the content. If you do, please hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a really long way for the algorithm. Here is the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection right here. This is what it's done over the past year. It has exploded in price. It has gone absolutely nuts. It's up 65%. Now, we did have a brief period of time where it seemed like manipulation was going on. Some things were looking a little sus, right? Like we saw this happen with alternate arts, with illustration rares, with special illustration rare Pokemon cards. It was very weird at the beginning of summer, April, May, June, right around that time frame. And you can see that with the quantity of sales that happened with the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection, right? Like there seemed to be abnormal amounts of sales that happened right at the tail end of May, where for a long time there was about 30 to 40 selling on a weekly basis on TCG Player, and then all of a sudden you have weekly sales of 75 to 80 for like 3 or 4 weeks there in May, which really started driving that price point up a little bit. But look what happened after that. A lot of the other alternate arts, illustration rares, special illustration, they've collapsed, and the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection continues to trend in the upward direction. It's up over 65% for the year, which is absolutely insane. If you rewind time a year ago, you could find it for $97.10. That was its 1-year low. And slow growth, steady growth all the way up until June. Then it got that little bit of a jump and then trended back downward a little bit in July before starting to move back up again. It hit 164.11 as its 1-year high. It's sitting at 160.43 right now, so just off of its 1-year high and continuing to trend upward. But it's the contents inside that also continue to move up. And I think that's what's going to continue to drive this in the upward direction, starting out with the Charizard card. So as much as we might be sick of Charizard, a lot of people aren't. And a lot of collectors, a lot of fans, a lot of people who are just fans of Pokemon in general, who may not necessarily watch content, who may not necessarily play the TCG, but they just like to collect their favorite Pokemon, Charizard is their favorite Pokemon for a lot of kids, a lot of adults, a lot of fans in general. And because of that, the 3 Charizards that you get inside the Ultra Premium Collection are going to continue to be popular for years down the road, because they are at cheaper price points right now if you buy them individually, but also just because they look really cool. These are really cool artworks, and outside of Brilliant Stars, this is your best bet at getting an alternate art Charizard. So you've got this alternate art Charizard V right here that is included in every Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. The quantities that are being sold on a weekly basis, absolutely nuts, and they move extremely well and extremely fast. And you can see how it's trending in the upward direction. Back in January of 2024, this was a $4.44 card at a 1-year low, and it's skyrocketed since then. It's up 41% over the past year. You can see for a blip in June, it hit $7.40. Now it's backed off a little bit, but still sitting at $6.84 and continuing to trend upward. Here's the Charizard V-Star right here, also doing the exact same thing. Now you've got a little bit of abnormal quantity of sales, but that could be for a plethora of different reasons. The most important thing is if you follow the trend, it continues to trend upward. So it's up over 60% for the past year. In November of 2023, it was down to $7.98. Slow growth up until June when we saw a lot of those buyouts happen. Then it jumped up started coming back down again, but now it's trended back up again. So it's got pretty strong staying power right now. It's sitting at $13.38, which is just off of its one-year high of $15.21, but continuing to trend in that upward direction. Here's the Charizard VMAX, which for a long time has been the most expensive of the three. Just looks like a really angry, gigantic Charizard right there. In October of 2023, this was down to $10.30. It's up almost 40% for the year. It did have a blip in March where it almost dropped all the way back down to its one-year low, but now it's just continued to trend in the upward direction. And a lot of storefronts were forced to crack all their ultra premium collections because they didn't have buyers for them. So they broke them open so that way they could sell the contents inside. And because of that, there's not a ton of these sealed, not a ton of these, you know, I'm sure there's a bunch of them in storage units. But when you talk about store owners who might have backstock, there's not a lot of them out there. I was just kind of perusing the web looking for who has these available. Not a whole lot of storefronts that still have them in stock. You have to go to eBay or other third sellers in order to find a lot of these. So this one up almost 39% for the year, sitting at $14.30 right now. But one of the most important things to remember, and this goes to one of those points that I was talking about before about why I believe this is going to continue to climb and be a positive product, is because of sales channels. So sales channels, if you're just a Pokemon card collector, or if you're a seller, or if you're a buyer, it doesn't matter. You need to understand this. This is super important information. TCG Player, eBay, Amazon are all great sources to buy Pokemon cards. However, they're all very different and unique in their own way. Something that sells super well on TCG Player may not sell super well on Amazon, but something that sells super well on Amazon may not sell super well on TCG Player. And that's something to remember. It's important as you're looking for cards to look at different websites to see which one has the best pricing, because there are going to be things that do a lot better on Amazon than what they do on TCG Player or on eBay. Case in point, these Charizard promos that are in the Ultra Premium Collection. Now, the Charizard V right here, there's a lot that sold over the past month on Amazon, selling for $8.20 right now. So it is down a little bit and a little bit closer to TCG Player than what it normally is, but definitely selling for more on Amazon than what it was on TCG Player. Same thing with the Charizard V-Star. Again, another product where there's been over 200 that have sold in the past month. Typically sells for around $20, currently selling for $18.20. Low stock right now on Amazon. Again, a little bit higher on Amazon than TCG Player. And the last one, much more expensive on Amazon than TCG Player, currently selling at $25.87, is the Charizard VMAX. So a lot of sellers, a lot of Amazon sellers will look at TCG Player. And when you see some of those points where you see large quantities of sales in a singular week, a lot of times it's because they might buy them out on TCG Player so that way they can just sell them on Amazon because they sell for so much higher. Now, obviously, they have to factor in fees and things like that, but $25.87, if you look, currently only selling for $14.30. So sells for about $11 more on Amazon. And because of that, if these continue to trend upward as well, the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection in general is going to continue to trend upwards. Here are the packs that you get inside. And this is another reason. This is point number 2 as to why I think that Sword and Shield, or the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection, is going to continue to trend upward. It's just because the packs inside are all Sword and Shield, which isn't doing as well right now as what it was 3 months ago, 4 months ago, but still is doing extremely well and will continue to do extremely well. So you get 16 packs inside the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. These are them. So you have Darkness Ablaze. You get one of those for $3.54. Not really exciting for a lot of people. Vivid Voltage, one of those, not super exciting for a lot of people, currently selling for $3.49. But if you look at the other packs, these are packs that excite a lot of people. And there's a fair amount of them in this box. So you get 3 Evolving Skies packs. The market price on Evolving Skies right now is $12.79 and continuing to trend in the upward direction. So you get a decent chunk of Evolving Skies packs in your Charizard UPC. Fusion Strike, you get 3 of those as well. And the market price for Fusion Strike packs also continues to trend upward, currently selling at $4.56 per pack. Brilliant Stars, also doing the same thing. You get 3 of those, currently selling for $4.02. Astral Radiance, a little bit slower of a mover, but you also get 3 of those. Those are selling for $3.52. And then Lost Origin, you get 2 of those. That one's currently selling for $4.73. So if you add the value of all those packs up, you get $91.16. So not including the promo cards, just the booster packs all by themselves, you're looking at about $91.16 worth of value in the Charizard UPC. And if you break that all down and factor in the ancillary products as well, you get about $15 of value out of those with the dice, with the promo, or with the the code card, the playmat that comes inside it. The promos are $34.52. The number in parentheses on the right-hand side is what this was at 6 months ago when we looked at this. So these have gone up a decent amount. Your total value inside the Charizard UPC right now is about $140.68. And if we look at where the Charizard UPC is right now, it's currently selling for about $160. So very close as far as that value goes, and continuing to trend in the upward direction. So $91 in booster packs, $15 in ancillary products, and about $34 in promo cards, about $140 worth of value currently in the Charizard UPC. The other thing about this which is crazy to me, these are the price charting for the promo cards right here. So if you do open up your Charizard UPC, say you have one lying around, you want to open it up and you look at the value and maybe get PSA 10s, you want to send these off to be graded. These are a little bit difficult to get in PSA 10s, but not terrible. Look at the sales price for PSA 10, $66.41. So much better than the $7 that it was selling for. But look at the population report, which is at the bottom right there. You have 12,247 9s and 5,760 10s. You're looking at over 20,000 graded cards just for this Charizard V, just in 8, 9, and 10, which is absolutely insane. The Charizard V-Star has almost 6,600 PSA 10s currently, with almost 14,000 PSA 9s. So you're looking at over 21,000 PSA graded cards for the Charizard V-Star. PSA 10 still selling for pretty well, $161.25, and continuing to trend upward, which is really cool. And then you have the Charizard VMAX. This one sells for a little bit less, but there are more in existence. So almost 7,600 PSA 10s currently out there, 12,500 PSA 9s. Again, over 20,000 of these graded, which it's a lot. That's a lot. That means, you're looking at 20,000 Ultra Premium collections that were just cracked open and graded, which is insane to think about. Like, think of how much product is out there. It's absolutely crazy. But the value still continues to be there and should continue to be there as the Charizard UPC continues to climb, because people are going to want to buy and sell on Amazon. And then you also have the impact of the Sword and Shield era packs that are inside the Charizard UPC. So very interesting to kind of look at the detail. This is how things are going. There's a lot of people who did buy a lot of the Charizard UPCs who are doing pretty well right now. But another interesting product that came out a couple years ago, as we start kind of making buying decisions involving the upcoming Ultra Premium collections, the Greninja and the Terrapago. So I just want to provide that information. I hope you find it useful. If you do, please hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a long way for the algorithm. And ultimately, just thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me ramble, as I'm sick and I probably sound awful, but I really appreciate you guys being here. I love you guys. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. Till next time, peace.